Do it.
All right.
All right, we're live. Welcome to Sports and Songs, episode number 45 here on the show. Dan and Andy here, your hosts. Andy, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm up here where it's only 30 degrees.
I'm in lovely Fort Myers, Florida right now, recording at our other studio. It's 91. Just wanted to let the listeners know that it's lovely and 91 here, and having an ice cold Yingling
beverage.
A beverage. So we'll start off the show with some updates. Do you want to start on any NFL deaths?
Yeah, first one NFL thing here locally. Former Viking Matt Blair passed away this week, 70 years old. Matt Blair started playing with the Vikings mid-70s. My earliest memories of the Vikings, Matt Blair was one of the guys there. He kind of played during that changing of the guard when Tarkington and Marshall and all them left, and then the Knicks crew came in. Matt Blair was kind of that middle-of-the-road guy. But I remember Matt was very media-friendly. He was the guy who always did the interviews. He was the big star. And not because he was media-friendly was he the big star. Of course, he was a Pro Bowl player. He was, top player. Most games played for a Viking until recently. Most tackles at that position. One of the top guys there. So he was a good player, obviously, not just a good guy in the interview. Very fan-friendly. I've never heard a bad word about him. Even if you tried, no one could say anything bad about him. I think the worst thing you could say for Matt Blair is that he went to school at Iowa State. It's probably the worst thing you could say about Matt Blair. Just well-loved. Other shows, local news guys I've seen this week, nothing but great things to say about him. Just Matt Blair at the age of 70 has passed away.
Yeah, he was good guy. I've got his autograph and a tidbit for the audience. Attended one of his in a garage sale at Matt Blair's house when he was living in Prior Lake years ago. My mother, a longtime listener, did pick up a photographic, a camera, some kind of camera equipment. He was big into photography when he came out and moved out to the Prior Lake area. This would have been in the mid 80s. And he was selling a bunch of stuff and actually had a garage sale. I've never gone to a garage sale of an NFL player before, but he was selling odds and ends, him and his wife. And it's a little known fact that I can say I attended a garage sale of Pro Bowler Matt Blair. But good guy.
Bud Grant does those every year or two, doesn't he? He calls it a garage sale, sells all his old stuff. But
I don't know. He may have, but good guy, Matt Blair.
Matt Blair. On the very regular format for the show here, sort of do like pro wrestling news. Mention about the NWA wrestling, how we haven't heard much from them. They kind of do these inner matches with other associations. Guys come up. Thunder Rosa, their women's champions, but not AEW times. One of the last few months, names of guys have left. They've been guys who had titles. Well, one guy, a character by the name Ziggy Dice, was the TV champ. He said he wasn't coming back. Well, funny, at their last pay-per-view event, NWA had a guy who goes by the name of the Pope. He won the TV title. Trevor Murdoch's won the North American title recently, or the national championship, recently. Both these guys have decided they wanted to stay with NWA because the guys they beat have both openly said they're leaving. So NWA fans, hopefully they're going to come back, but look for Aaron Stevens to show up elsewhere. Look for Ziggy Dice to show up elsewhere, if not AEW, maybe more independent or Japan or something like that. NASCAR news, Michael Jordan. That's what I said. NASCAR news and Michael Jordan, the basketball player. He has gone in with Denny Hamlin, who you hear his name up in the championship races right now, are going together on a team next year. Bubba Wallace has already signed to be their driver because Bubba Wallace will no longer be with Richard Petty Sports at the end of this year. His contract's up. Not because of anything he's gone on this year, just contract is up. So the team name that they got for Jordan and Denny Hamlin is 2311. 11 is Denny Hamlin's number and 23 Jordan's. But they list is 23, then the Roman numerals for 11, XI. So 23XI Racing. And no one's had the number for the last couple of years, so Bubba Wallace will be driving the number 23 car next year. The number has been used in the past. They don't retire numbers in racing. Just no one used it, so it sat there. Jordan, I'm pretty sure looked into that before he got all this going. That's just the way Michael is. But yeah, so Bubba Wallace will be racing for 2311 Racing next year. Kind of interesting to see what Jordan does. Talking about the basketball racing ties, Brad Daugherty, who does the announcing on NBC for racing. If you remember back in the 80s and 90s, he was the center for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Brad Daugherty, big, tall, 7-foot dude, wore number 43 because that was Richard Petty's number, and he was a big Richard Petty fan at the time. So here's two basketball guys in the auto racing, which is kind of weird because their seasons kind of overlap. So you wouldn't think they'd have time to watch the other sport, but sure enough they do. But maybe Brad Daugherty will have some touches to get Jordan to do some interviews with him. So hopefully see what Michael has to say about that. But on to the races coming up now. I did mention last week, I kind of stuck my neck out there and said, hey, keep an eye on Kurt Busch. I know he's 8th out of the top 8 right now going in, but I think he can make the top 4. Well, Kurt had auto trouble last week, had car trouble, and didn't do well. He's way behind in points, but he probably won't make the top 4 on points, but if you win, you're in. So the next 2 races, if he wins, he advances on. Well, if you got nothing to lose, and your last name is Busch in this family of racing, I still wouldn't count Kurt Busch out. He's not going to get it by getting some second and thirds. He's going to have to win to get in. But still keep an eye on him. But Logano's in first because he won last week. Harvick, Denny Hamlin, as we mentioned earlier, and Brad Keselowski are the top 4. They're in right now. Chase Elliott's only 8 points out. So just keep an eye on those names right there. Still, I'm not going to count out Kurt Busch yet. The race is tomorrow, Sunday, the Andover Echo Park Automotive 500, it's called. The Texas Speedway. It's 501 miles, 334 laps. And that is at 2:30 Minnesota time here. So on NBC Sports Network, it'll be on. So watch it there. So to have that, then the Xfinity 500 November 1st. And then the final 4, the championship races, begin in Phoenix. It'll be November 8th. That's all on NBC's family of networks. They say those 2 are going to be on NBC right now, but you never know how things change, so I won't say anything there. Hockey news. The NHL has announced this week it's going to postpone the 2021 All-Star Game and Winter Classic. Now, the Winter Classic is the outdoor game they play every year on New Year's Day, and this year it was to be at Target Field. It was going to be the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues. And so they said, sorry, we're not having that game. The Florida Panthers were supposed to have the All-Star game. They're scrapping those 2, but they're not moving it to next year at those sites because they plan these things 2-3 years out. So Jay said those 2 cities will get it back again soon. So I don't know how far they've planned out and scheduled and promised other towns to have it. Hopefully we'll be back at Target Field in the next few years. It'll be kind of interesting to see. Outdoor pro hockey is very exciting. I've seen a few games. Very fun. High school sports. We've done some high school sports here Minnesota-wise. Volleyball has begun. They're just getting started here. That's one of the few sports that can go. The rankings real quick. Volleyball for the 3A. The defending champs are Wayzata. They beat Egan last year in 3A. And as of the 19th of October, the top 3 are Wayzata, Shakopee, and Egan. Minnetonka is coming in at 7, and Chaska is at number 10. For 2A, the defending champs are Stewartville, and they beat North Branch last year in the finals. And the top 3 for 2A right now are Stewartville, Marshall, and Concordia Academy, with Watertown Mayor coming in at 5. And in 1A, the defending champ is Minnesota, and last year they beat Waterville, Elysian, Morristown. And right now the rankings are Minnesota, WEM, and then Mayor Lutheran is 3rd, followed by Boston coming in at number 9. Today, Saturday here, as we're talking, a lot of the games for boys and girls soccer, their finals are today, the championship. A couple have been played already. So we'll give you the schedule so you don't have to listen for tomorrow when you go through the paper or listen to the radio for your school. Boys 2A was played the other day. Northfield won. They did beat Century Rochester Century. So congratulations to Northfield. In the 2AA, it's number 1 Edina against number 6 Ean Prairie. Edina got there by beating Minnetonka 2-0, and Ean Prairie got there by beating Shakopee 1-0. Ean Prairie is the 6th seed. So that's games going on. 3A, we got Lakeville North against Cretin-Durham Hall, the 1 against the 3 seed. 4AA, excuse me, Stillwater Area, the 2 seed, against number 8 Park, who got there. They've upset the number 1 seed. They beat White Bear Lake last week. So Park, the 8th seed, going for the championship in 4AA. That's what's kind of exciting, the underdog making it there. 5AA today, Champlain Park against Moundsview. 6AA is Wayzata and Washburn. 7AA is Centennial against Duluth East, the 4 and the 3 seed. And 8AA, number 1 Maple Grove against number 2 Moorhead. In the A brackets, again for boys, Austin did win over Dover the other day. They won the shootout 4-2, so it went to shootouts. In 2A, number 1 Worthington against Bloomington Kennedy. In 3A, it's Academy of Holy Angels against Richfield. Hillbury and Matamidi in 4A. 5A, Breck and Blake. In the 6A, it's number 1 Orono against the number 6 seed Laconia. Laconia got there with a upset wins over Monticello, who was a 3 seed. Then they beat number 2 Holy Family. So Laconia's on a streak. They beat 3, they beat 2, and now you got to beat number 1. So good luck to them today. 7A, Deerfield did beat Princeton, the 8 seed, or I'm sorry, Denfield. Denfield number 8 beat Princeton 2-1. So congratulations to them on winning. And 8A, it is number 1 Pelican Rapids against number 2 St. Cloud Tech. And in the 1AA girls, now we move on to girls. 1AA girls games for today, number 8 Lakeville South against number 2 Owatonna. 2AA, number 1 Edina against number 2 Minnetonka. Edina, to get there, they beat Bloomington Jefferson, the 8 seed, and Shakopee, the 5 seed, both 5-0. So Edina's had a pretty easy road, so we'll see what happens. So hopefully Minnetonka gives them a better fight than that. Number 3AA, Rosemont and Egan play. 4AA is Stillwater Area against Eastridge. And 5AA, Champlain Park against Moundsview. To get there for the championships, Champlain Park beat Park Center, number 8, 15-0, and Spring Lake Park, the number 5 seed, 3-0. Well, Moundsview got wins over Irondale, the 7 seed, at 6-0, and then Roseville Area, the number 3 seed, they beat 6-1. So both teams have gotten there pretty comfortably. We'll good test them for their championship game. 6A is Minneapolis Southwest against Wayzata. 7A championship was already played. That was Centennial beat Blaine, the 1 over the 2 seed. And 8AA, it's number 1 Rogers, number 2 Maple Grove. Moving on to the 1A for girls. Kohler beat Dover Eaton 3-0. They played that game on the 22nd, so the 1A is done. 2A, number 1 Waconia against number 2 Southwest Christian. Waconia got there with a win over number 16 Tri-City as a 1-0 forfeit. Albert Lee at number 9 seed, they beat 6-0. And Mankato West 2-0. And Southwest Christian beat Mankato Loyola 8-0, Waseca 1-0, and St. Peter 2-1. So should be a good matchup there in 2A. 3A, Academy of Holy Angels against Visitation for 3A championship. 4, Matamidi against Tilbury, 1 and 2 playing. 5A, it's Benilde St. Margaret's against Blake. And 6A, the game played last night here. Number 3 Orono did beat Watertown Mayor for the 6A championship, but the second place trophy is the first ever girls trophy for Watertown Mayor. So congratulations to them on that, and a good season there. 7A, Cloquet did beat Marshall 1-0. And 8A, number 1 Sartell will be playing number 4 Bemidji. Bemidji got there with wins over Hillcrest Lutheran 8-0. East Grand Forks, the number 1 seed, they beat 3-0. And Alec, the number 2 seed, they beat 2-1 in a shootout. But the way that bracket is for 8A, it's so big is Yeah, but Bemidji beat the number 1 seed East Grand Forks. That was in the number 1 seed in the top bracket. Sartell's the number 1 seed from the lower bracket. So we'll see how that goes. Sartell did get a forfeit win over St. John's Prep. They beat Sauk Rapids Rice 2-1 and St. Cloud Cathedral 1-0. So Bemidji's been playing real good. We'll see how that goes. A little note about Bemidji also for high school football last night. They were supposed to come down and play with the teams in the cities. A couple weeks ago, the team canceled. So last minute, hey, Edina, are you doing anything? So Bemidji played Edina last night and ended up Bemidji won that game. So they're 2-1 on the season. And Edina dropped to 0-3. Anytime I could say Edina dropped to 0-3 in football, I'm going to take that opportunity and mention it. Speaking of high school football, some of the rankings are out. We won't go over scores for high school football. It's only an hour show. We're not going to do that. I'll hit a couple teams in each bracket here. 6A, Lakeville still holds on at number 1. Eden Prairie 2, Prior Lake 3. And 5A goes Chaska, St. Thomas Academy, Owatonna. No change in 4A from last week. It's still Hutchinson, Marshall, and Fridley. Jordan coming in at number 10. 2A, again, no changes. Caledonia, Minneapolis North, and Redwood Valley. 1A is Blooming Prairie, Mahnomen Woburn, and Minneota. Mayor Lutheran at 5. Browerville Gray Eagle at 6, and Underwood at 8 in 1A. And 9-man, there are some changes. Hills Beaver Creek still stays at 1, but Stephen Argyle Central moves up from 5 to 2, and Winnie Mac stays at number 3 for 9-man. So high school football has started and is going. Limited crowds, still always fun to watch high school football. Go for football today. Playing for a little brown jug. Big game. ESPN's doing their bit right now, but you'd rather watch us anyway. Lee Corso is going to sit there and drop names all over all this and that. I'm sure Desmond Howard with Michigan here, he's going to get booed. So there. Spoiler alert, that's what's happening there. But Tanner Morgan, Gopher quarterback, is up for the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. Not to take anything away from that, there's like 50 quarterbacks that are up for that every year. So basically, if you don't run the option, your team's up, quarterback is up for it. But obviously, if we're mentioning it now, the Gopher quarterback hasn't been up very often, so it's pretty exciting. Tanner Morgan's going to have – I'm not saying he's going pro. He's a fun young kid to watch. So keep an eye on him today in the game. He is named for the All Big Ten second team list, so he is doing fairly well. Speaking of the Gophers today, they're playing for the Little Brown Jug. Doing some research on that. I was looking at Bleacher Report, and they listed their version of the top 10 college rivalry game trophies. This is for all the country. I'm just going to go over the ones that involve Big Ten schools here. Number 10, the old brass spittoon between Indiana and Michigan State. The old Oaken bucket between Indiana and Purdue. Number 4, the Little Brown Jug, Michigan, Minnesota. Story behind that is in 1903, Michigan coach Fielding Yost purchased a jug of drinking water in a Minneapolis store. Near the end of the contest, with the game tied at 6, Minnesota fans stormed the field, which eventually forced the game to be called a tie. Michigan left the jug behind, and it was claimed by Minnesota, which painted it brown and is now half brown, half blue. 6 years later, the teams decided to use the jugular traveling trophy and has been part of the rivalry ever since. Number 2 is Paul Bunyan's axe between Minnesota and Wisconsin. There's actually a Paul Bunyan trophy too. I think that's Michigan State. I'm not sure. But the story behind the Paul Bunyan axe, can't make this stuff up, is actually the rivalry's second traveling trophy. The teams originally played for a slab of bacon between 1930 and 1943 until it was lost following a Minnesota victory. The slab was eventually found in 1994 in Camp Randall Stadium storage closet. In 1948, the Wisconsin National W Club created Paul Bunyan's axe. With its features a 6-foot-long handle in which the game's score is inscribed. Until 2014, the winning team claimed the axe and would, quote-unquote, chop down the goalposts. In 2013, Minnesota players surrounded the goalpost and refused Wisconsin to chop it down, nearly prompting a fight. Now the axe is kept in the locker room until the game is over. I remember a story about that one time at the Metrodome. They tried to take the axe out through the revolving doors. Didn't work. But the number one trophy, Floyd of Rosedale, Minnesota, Iowa. Iowa, Minnesota is nowhere near the top of the list of college football's best rivalries, largely because neither team has been in a national title since 1960. But its trophy, Floyd of Rosedale, is the game's best rivalry trophy. In 1934, Iowa accused Minnesota players of dirty play and late hits on star tailback Ozzie Simmons. To defuse the controversy, Iowa and Minnesota governors agreed to wager a live hog named Floyd of Rosedale. After Floyd passed away, a trophy was commissioned in his place. Floyd of Rosedale is a 98-pound bronze pig that is 21 inches long and 15 inches high. The winner of the Minnesota-Iowa game keeps Floyd until next year's meeting. Minnesota does hold a 62 to 46-2 lead in that series, which made it even more special. And I guess think about that as you see him haul it around. That's how big these football players are. I didn't realize how big that trophy was because these big beasts, their hands hold this thing up. I always thought it was no bigger than the football, 98 pounds, big trophy. But, the Gophers do play for 5 different trophies through the Big Ten season. Like I said, Floyd of Rosedale and the Little Brown Jug, Paul Bunyan's Axe. They also have one they started back in 1900 with Nebraska. Now, Nebraska didn't join the Big Ten until much later, but they still had a thing called the $5 Bits of Broken Chair Trophy. No idea what that means. Didn't look into it. Didn't care. Mostly because it's Nebraska, so I didn't care. And when they started, when Penn State joined the Big Ten, they came up with a trophy there, and they have the Governor's Victory Bell. So that's 5 trophies the Gophers play for, so that's pretty neat. One other thing I got real quick about Major League Baseball is Rob Manfred, commissioner. He wants to keep the expanded playoffs and the runner-up and the runner starting on second pace beyond the season. I don't know if he'll be able to do it right away next year. Maybe they will if they go with the abbreviated schedule again, not knowing what this pandemic thing is going to hold for us. I kind of like the expanded playoffs. I think if you could do expanded playoffs, though, you might have to shorten the season. I don't agree with the 7-inning doubleheaders in a regular season, but you got to do something. Shorten some games. I'm okay with the playoffs. Maybe you change the scheduling where it's all kind of regional based like it was this year. But again, take it up to Players Union and all that. But you're playing some baseball down there, sir.
Yes.
How's it going down there? How'd you guys do?
Well, down in sunny Fort Myers, and the annual Roy Hobbs baseball tournament for senior men's baseball. It's called the World Series. It's a 4-week event. This week just finished up the best teams in over 35 baseball. Now, unfortunately, I'm older than that, and I don't play in that. I'm in the over 45 league, which starts tomorrow. But the finals this week, in the 4A title game today, that's going on right now, Tidewater, Florida, against a team out of Chicago. In the Class 3A, Cleveland is taking on another Chicago team. And in 2A, there's a Panhandle, Florida team playing for the title against the NEO Angels. I'm not sure where they're based out of, but no Minnesota teams in the finals for the 35 and over event. This next week, starting tomorrow, the 45 and above start. Minnesota is sending 4 teams down, and I'll be reporting on how we do the next show. But there's 4 teams coming down here. It should be mid to upper 80s all week long, and play on the Boston Red Sox training fields and the Minnesota Twins training fields down here. So it's great fields, sunny, nice. This week we do have this last week. They weren't playing on the championship team, but Jose Barrios was down here, Andy. He coaches a Puerto Rican team in the over 35. He's one of the coaches, I guess. He's not the manager, but his dad plays on a team for Puerto Rico along with his older brother. So Jose Barrios, older brother, and his dad were playing here this last week. So sometimes you'll run into former ball players or familiar names. This next week in the tournament that I'm in, Andy, it is Doug Flutie is a common guy down here. He pitches in the tournament down here. Might run into him and have him do a plug for Sports and Songs if I see him here this week.
Right.
Now, down here, the local paper has a full page in the sports section today on the Gophers game against Michigan. And so down here in Florida, it's a big cover. It's called the Game of the Week. They've got a prediction: Minnesota 42, Michigan 38, and it's the game of the week. And like I said, it's on the ESPN. A lot of Minnesotans down here looking forward to watching this game at a local bars on the beach here and everything.
Yeah, Michigan's ranked like 18th, and we're 21st or 22nd, so it should be a good matchup. Hopefully,
it should be very good. They've got a whole page on the entire Big Ten. The power rankings for the Big Ten, according to this, is Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Minnesota in the top 4 for the Big Ten. And they got Michigan listed 6th. They've got Ohio State listed as number 1 for the power rankings. 2 is Penn State. 3 is Wisconsin Badgers, and 4 Minnesota. So those are the top 4 for the Big Ten. So they've got this game pretty highly touted. It's going to be on a lot of the channels here at the local restaurants and establishments here, as it's on ABC tonight. Correct?
And you look at it this way: it's games like this. If the Gophers can be competitive in it and cannot look like little Sister Mary's School of the Blind playing football out there, this is great for recruiting. I mean, yeah, we got cruddy weather right now, but if you could show, look how good the stadium looks, the players are doing okay, no one's getting hurt or complaining, maybe play a game or two in 20-degree weather. It is what it is. If you want to play in the NFL with the Packers or the Bears or the Patriots, or you're really good, you end up playing with the Jets because they stink and always get a number 1 pick, you're going to play in the cold weather. So why not go to a college with some cold weather and get used to it? You play in Alabama, you're going to be great, and you go to a bad team that plays where it's cold. You play California or Arizona, not everybody plays in nice warm weather all year round, kids. So come here. You got not all our games are cold. This is the one time it's going to be, and it's all part of being a big kid. Suck it up, come play up here.
So look forward to watching the game. That should be a good one, and especially this season where there's no non-conference, there's no easier wins to start the season. You start off right away with the powerhouse game. It's going to be fairly exciting. I've got some two NFL notes as well. Do you have anything, Andy, or should I go ahead?
I just got some concerts. When you're done, we'll go ahead with the NFL stuff, yeah.
NFL, now we're into the Sunday night flex. We're into the flex schedule. And the Tampa Bay Las Vegas game was scheduled for the night game. That got flexed. They moved that up to the 3:15 late game, Tampa Bay at Las Vegas. And instead, for the night game this weekend on Sunday night, will be Seattle Seahawks at Arizona Cardinals. They moved that as the flex. Now, Tampa Bay moved up, to the 3:00 game, but they're the ones turning all the heads this year with Brady, Gronkowski, and guess who just signed today?
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown, a 1-year deal with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and once again, down here in this section of Florida, Tampa Bay is a big hub. Everyone's excited.
Tampa Bay's got the Lightning are the defending Stanley Cup champions. The Rays are in the World Series. You got all the big names coming down there for football are coming down there. So Tom Brady and Antonio Brown have that 1-game history together. But Gronkowski was basically signed as a player coach, a third option for Brady. Since there was no training camp or preseason games, he knew he had that safe out to Gronk wherever he was going to be. I think this might be the start where you see guys. The Florida Marlins and Arizona Diamondbacks for a while, baseball players who thought they had a year or two left, went down where it was warm to play all year round. Kind of the reverse what I just talked about with college football players. So maybe Tampa Bay could start getting this. Hey, you got a couple years left, come down in the sun, and let's see what we can do. Have fun, be competitive.
Yeah, the Bucks look good, especially on defense. That last game I saw.
No penalties in that game for Tampa Bay.
Last week is unreal to watch that.
Yeah, they had 11 the week before. Tom Brady chews them out. I guess the media down there in Tampa was just, how dare you yell at our players? Really, the next week you had no penalties. Keep yelling.
Those guys are going to be tough, but that's all I've got for sports.
Yeah, I just got some concerts. Medina Entertainment Center coming up October 30th. The Belfast Cowboys They're a 9-piece band specializing in music from Van Morrison. So that genre of music, if that's you, that's a place to see. October 31st is a trilogy tribute tour. Groups that do songs by Pink Floyd, The Doors, and AC/DC. So if you're into that, that's Halloween night. Friday, November 6th is Shane Martin, a tribute to Alabama. So that should be a good show there. And the 7th is a 70s Magic Sunshine Band. So there you go. November 13th, Arena Rocks with guest Heartless, a tribute to Heart, will be playing. And 14th is a band called Bad Girlfriends. I have no information on them. They're playing the 14th.
When is Heartless playing?
Heartless is opening up for Arena Rocks on the 13th of November at Medina.
Oh, I'm going to mark that down. Big Heart fan, of course.
Yes. Nancy Wilson just had a new album out. If you see, I'm sure you saw that on our Facebook page.
Yes.
This is where you nod. Yes. Yes. Nancy's got some stuff out. So there's that. Like I said, new friends of the show, Legacy of the Loud. They'll be playing November 7th at Jersey's Bar in Inver Grove Heights, and the 21st at Forster's Dugout in Miami. So there's some chances to go see them. Like I said, I sing their praises from last week. Very good show. One last tidbit. Friday, October 30th at the Muddy Cow in Hutchinson, Isaiah Mueller Band is playing. A friend of mine plays bass. He'll be sitting with the band that night. So we'll plug them if you're out at Hutchinson at the Muddy Cow, October 30th, 8:30 p.m. Head on out there, see them. Some good stuff. Don't mention my name. They might not let you in. So don't say, hey, Andy said. Don't do that. But that's what I got. The sports and music history of birthdays has been pre-recorded. So I'll just go straight to the anchor part. You won't see me reading those or having pictures for that this week. I apologize for that. Because of time restraints this week with travel and stuff, we put that in earlier. I am working on, hopefully we'll have it ready by the first anniversary show in a couple weeks, our own Spotify music page, where if you listen to Spotify, every one of the albums of the week we've done, I'm going to pick one song or maybe two off the album, put on there, and we'll update it every now and then. So those of you who enjoy Spotify, which we do, because their Anchor FM owns Spotify, so we'll be putting that out there when we have the information. We'll let you know. So you'll be able to find us there, our podcast channels, Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, blog updates every couple weeks. There's stuff on there. So just keep looking for us on social media. Anything you ever want to hear for something, let us know. So we'll skip over the part. Now this is where we go to the album of the week, sir. What did you listen to on your plane ride down?
This is episode 45. The album of the week is Damn Yankees, American rock supergroup formed in 1989.
My boyfriend Jack Blades is on that band. I got Man Crush on him.
Man Crush. This is good for Man Crush. Good group of guys here. This is an American rock supergroup formed in '89, consisting of Tommy Shaw of Styx, Jack Blades of Night Ranger, Ted Nugent from the Amboy Dukes, and the drummer Michael Cardelloni. Cardelloni at the time was unknown. He was the fresh baby face of the group, but later was the drummer with Leonard Skinner. So all these guys are good. I remember this album first came out, and it was pretty good stuff, mainly because the guys in the band, they're all well known. It's another supergroup type of a thing. They only recorded a couple albums, and that was it. But it was good at the time. They are remembered for the songs High Enough, Where Are You Going Now? Both of these were top 40 hits in the early 90s. Label here was Warner Brothers. This was produced by rock producer Ron Nevison. The band's self-titled debut album went double platinum in 1990. And the two top hit songs were done by each of the two lead singers. Jack Blades' song was Coming of Age. That went high in the charts. And Tommy Shaw, his song was Come Again. That got extensive airplay as well. Both of those are their top songs. Ted Nugent, of course, was lead guitarist. I think he sang a couple songs on the the deeper cuts. He was vocals on those, but mainly those two were the top ones. 1990s rock ballad High Enough rose to number 3 on the Hot US chart and number 2 on the AOR charts. But despite Ted Nugent's career being built on his hard rock Motor City Madman image, the more pop rock sound of High Enough was actually his first mainstream top 10 single ever. Nugent was good. He had some good songs. None of it was ever mainstream. So after his long, huge career that he had, it actually takes a rock ballad, a power ballad, to get him in a top 10 single ever on mainstream. So that was pretty good. After the release, they went on an 18-month tour, and they toured with bands such as Poison, Jackal, and a revamped Bad Company lineup. This was back in '89. They were touring in '90. The tour coincided with the Persian Gulf War, which was very new at the time back then. And so at the end of some of the shows, the band was unfurling American flags, and they made very patriotic statements and things on the concert.
Wait. Ted Nugent got political during a concert?
So Ted Nugent, remember, a good guy to follow on Twitter if you want to hear. Really, two topics.
Laugh, yeah.
He talks really 3 topics: music, hunting, and politics. It's all, anything he says is going to be one of those 3 buckets.
And sometimes in the same sentence. Many
times, yes. He very, very vocal. Now, in today's political climate, you'll also see him. It won't be much of a stretch of any kind of a search on Twitter to see quotes from him. So here's an interesting note, Andy. You might like this. The band. There's been common talk of this band reuniting over the years, even as far as just this past July, 2020. Sirius XM Radio Rewind Channel 25 interview with Rachel Steele. Ted Nugent said that he wants to get back and tour again with the damn Yankees. This was just this past July he made this statement. So this may be an upcoming type of a deal on your concert reviews. Local band like this could be playing at the Medina, maybe something a little bigger, but they're all done with the big arena shows. But this would be a good band to see if they do get together. Damn Yankees never, on purpose, never disbanded. They've never broken up.
Right.
So they're never really going to officially get back together, but they know they're going to be keeping it open, the possibility of a reunion, even to this day, some type of a tour. And so, like I said, the members of the band, Tommy Shaw, Jack Blades, Ted Nugent, and Michael Cartellone. Now, Cartellone, in doing this research for this album review, he's very big into art, very artsy guy, and I put on the Sports and Songs Facebook page some of his artwork. He designs, as a drummer, he designs the drum covers with various bands' images of their artwork on these things that you can buy, like as collector pieces to hang on your wall or man cave, whatever. He's got some very good things that he has done. Now on to the songs. 10 songs on the album: High Enough, Coming of Age, and Come Again, all singles that went on the charts, and they all have music videos with them. Now, the song Runaway was also released as a single, and the song Bad Reputation released as a single. Never made music videos for those, but interesting still that they had 5 singles released on a 10-song album. Not just a couple singles, but 5. So that stuck out to me as surprising. I did not know that. I was not aware of that. The remaining 5 songs that weren't released was Mystified, the song Rock City, Damn Yankees, Pile Driver. There's your Ted Nugent song right there, Pile Driver. And the song Tell Me How You Want It. So that's the album review of this week. Ted Nugent. I was able to meet him in 1989 and get his autograph and my photo taken with Nugent. I've always been a big, lifelong, fan of the Nuge. But it's a good album. I haven't listened to this thing in a long time, and I like the songs on this. Most of these songs are very good. I don't like
Their
the.
song "Damn Yankees." If you search them on YouTube, you will hear. Sometimes people will sign up on YouTube and just put like the album cover up there, kind of like we do with some of our episodes. That song does get played out there on Spotify, YouTube a lot for "Damn Yankees." If you search them, you will hear that song "Damn Yankees" come up.
Yeah,
Very good.
and once again, the songs that they're known for publicly are those power ballads. Not necessarily my favorite, but the other songs are on there are good. But this album went double platinum, so look for them to get back together, possibly.
Well, that was kind of like Night Ranger too. Their songs they released were their ballads. You listen to the other 8 songs on the album, not ballads.
Yeah, and underrated as well.
Yes.
All right, so on Anchor, we'll release the Anchor Sunday mornings at 9:00 for all the new listeners out there. That's just the audio only. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to videos like this. Facebook channel will put the videos like this out there. And once again, on a weekly basis.
Occasional Instagram will have a little 5-minute blog. One of us will.
We're out there on, there's a blog page, there's Instagram, and we're out there on Twitter as well. So we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary. We've had some good results doing this for a year, Andy. I'm looking forward to year number 2.
Yeah, some things we're thinking of doing coming up for the fall or for the high school tournament section. A lot more coverage of the high school tournaments as they come up, like we did last year, but this year, March Madness, we'll be covering if there is any tournaments, however they do it. We'll cover that pretty exclusively. We enjoy the high school sports there a lot. College football bowl games, I don't know how they're going to do that. I tell you the truth, I don't think the NCAA knows either. They're probably making up. They probably are saying one thing, but if things change, it can change. So we'll see. Getting back to the NFL, one thing I have heard about, they have an extra week in there before the playoffs start in case they got to make up games. It was announced this week. They have the flexibility where the Super Bowl is at. If they have to, they can move the Super Bowl up to 4 weeks back. Or 4 weeks out. So that stadium's not being used for anything. So they have that flexibility there. The NFL, like we said at the beginning, has been coming up with this big chip on their shoulder. Like, we're not changing the way we do things. We're the NFL. We've had Tuesday night games. We have games scheduled around. The Chiefs played Monday night 3 weeks in a row, because games had to be moved because of coronavirus, and this team tested positive through the week with the wait. Tennessee Titans are undefeated, and they've been the cause of a lot of schedule changes, So with that coming up, is the NFL going to do something different when it comes to playoffs? They're going to say, hey, you know what? We're bubbling for the playoffs. We're not traveling. So we don't have the flexibility to move games to Tuesday night or Thursday night then. I wouldn't be surprised personally if the NFL, when playoffs come, they bubble everybody.
They might, yeah.
So that's because the dollars for TV are too big to be moving them around. The ratings are too low for all sports right now. World Series is getting the worst ratings they've ever had. NBA and NHL had bad ratings. Football's not getting good ratings, pro football. So I wouldn't be surprised if NFL bubbles to some sort come playoff time. Or if maybe some teams say come to the end of the season, the Vikings-Lions game, we're not making you up. Sorry, we're not going to move stuff around. You're mathematically eliminated. We're not going to bother making up your game. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, that's all I've got. We've got some good football tonight. World Series game 3 tonight?
Game 4 tonight.
Game 4. So we got game 4 tonight, and then they've got game 5, and then another day break in the action, and then game 6 to 7 if necessary.
One thing we're going to bring up, the Rays the other day, they had pitcher Anderson. Relief pitcher, very good, from Brainerd, Minnesota, local guy. So there's that. One thing we're going to bring up, speaking of baseball, as you watch the World Series, one thing Dan and I have talked about, we're going to do a video on how to keep score for a baseball game. What does a 4-3 putout mean? What's F8? What, all this other stuff. So as you watch this, don't get frustrated by it. If you have questions on how to score a baseball game, let us know. So we have, you want to know what that is? We can put it in our video. So we're working on that for this fall. Maybe it'll be our Christmas present to you. But, we're working on that. Something to do to release before baseball season starts next year, get you into it. So if you have questions on how to score a baseball game or any questions baseball related that you've come up with this year, please send them in. Send us a message on Facebook. Direct message there. Email. So there's an email address on the Facebook page. Send them in. We'll go over questions on that too coming up. So get your baseball questions ready. Next week will be a big preview. October 31st is the last day of the Korean baseball season before the playoffs. So I'll have my playoff preview for them. And lots of guys in Australian baseball getting signed up, ready to go. A preseason preview for that coming up too. Never get too much baseball here.
Yeah, we'll take an extensive look also next year in the springtime at amateur baseball. Pro River Valley will do previews for that coming up. DRS, some other River Valley League baseball coming up for amateur. As the host of the baseball state tournament this next coming year, 2021, is going to be Waconia, Chaska, and Hamburg. And so we're going to be really pushing that leading up to that Labor Day state title games in classes A, B, and C.
Not only are we Carver County's fastest growing podcast, we are your amateur baseball leader from Minnesota, your high school sports leader in Carver County for podcasts. You want it, let us know. We'll give it to you. And if you don't want it,
we're also to not sell us short. We're the XFL leader for season one.
Yes.
When the XFL came back, no one had more information than this very show on games, previews, and notable players. So we take pride in some of these things.
We're not just MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL here. We got our pro wrestling, we got NASCAR, and I just want it noted. I've gotten this whole episode. Have not said a thing about the New York Mets yet. It can be done. And if you look back at our video archives, I believe this is our second episode where both Dan and I did not have a hat on.
Oh yes, usually we do.
One of us usually have one on. Neither one. We're naked heads today.
This is a rare episode. Could be a good answer to a trivia question down the road.
Name one episode where they neither had a hat on.
Episode 45, no hats, sans the hat.
Yes. That might be one of our hashtags when we promote the video. Hashtag no hats.
That could be. All right, sounds good. We'll see you next week then.
See you now.